The Battle of Kodori Valley was a military operation during the Russo-Georgian War in the Upper Kodori Valley. It was the only part of Abkhazia which was under Georgian control at this point of time. On the 9th of August 2008, the Abkhaz military launched an operation to remove the remaining Georgian troops from the disputed gorge. After 3 days, Georgian military left the Upper Kodori Valley. Abkhaz and Russian army mobilization. Russia sent naval vessels to blockade Georgia's Black Sea coast. According to the Russian Navy, a group of ships from Russia's Black Sea Fleet, including the flagship Moskva missile cruiser, arrived on 10 August near the Georgian border. The source in the Russian Navy's headquarters claimed that the purpose of the Black Sea Fleet vessels' presence in this region is to provide aid to refugees. A spokesman of the president of Abkhazia earlier said that the local administration and peacekeepers had asked Russia to reinforce its naval presence near the Abkhazian coast after Georgian warships attempted to approach the coastline. On 10 August, the Georgian government said that 6,000 Russian troops had rolled into South Ossetia from the neighboring Russian province of North Ossetia and 4,000 more landed in Abkhazia. Alexander Novitsky, an aide to the commander of Russian peacekeepers in Abkhazia, said on the 11th of August that Russia had boosted its forces in Abkhazia and had more than 9,000 paratroopers and 350 armored vehicles there. Ultimatum to Georgia. On the morning of the 9th of August 2008, the Abkhaz de facto deputy defense minister requested that United Nations observer mission in Georgia should withdraw its observers from the Upper Kodori Valley. UNOMIG then withdrew all 15 observers from the Upper Kodori Valley. The Abkhaz de facto authorities announced a decision, taken by President Bagapsh, to expel the Georgian armed forces from the Upper Kodori Valley. On the afternoon, UNOMIG reported aerial bombardments for Georgian villages in the Upper Kodori Valley. On 10 August, the president of Abkhazia, Sergei Bagapsh, gave a press conference where he announced that their operation in the Upper Kodori Valley was proceeding according to plan. He gave both Georgian civilians and armed personnel an ultimatum to leave the Upper Kodori Valley. He also said that the government of Abkhazia had requested Russia to take measures to strengthen the Abkhaz maritime border. Bagapsh said that his decision to start a military operation against the Upper Kodori Valley was approved by the parliament. Fighting. On 9 August 2008, Russian-supported separatists in Abkhazia launched air and artillery strikes to drive Georgian troops from the Kodori Gorge, the only part of the region controlled by Georgia. A second front against Georgia was opened. The It news agency quoted the foreign minister of Abkhazia Sergei Shamba as saying that the armed forces of Abkhazia had begun an operation to force Georgian troops out of the upper part of the Kodori Gorge. In a separate report by Interfax news agency, Sergei Bagapsh said that its aviation is currently conducting an operation in the upper part of the Kodori Gorge of Abkhazia controlled by Georgia. Shamba also said, "Today was only the initial part of the operation by heavy artillery supported by aviation." Georgian President Mikhail Saakashvili was quoted by the It agency as saying that Georgia had defeated all attacks on the upper part of the Kodori Gorge. On 10 August, Abkhaz warplanes and artillery continued to pound Georgian positions for a second day in a row. Bagapsh said Abkhazia was acting independently. The separatist authorities of Abkhazia announced a full military mobilization. The president of Abkhazia said that around 1,000 special Abkhaz troops were involved in operations against Georgian forces. They were attacking the Georgians using warplanes, multiple rocket launchers and artillery. The operation will end the next phase as planned, and you will learn about that, he said, adding that he would create a humanitarian corridor, allowing residents to flee. On the 11th of August, The Abkhaz defense minister Mirab Kishmaria told the Russian news agency Interfax that Abkhaz forces would kill Georgian troops if they did not leave Kodori Gorge. Abkhaz authorities announced a military offensive against Georgian troops in the Kodori Gorge area on 12 August. Russian forces supported the Abkhaz operation. The operation to liberate Kodori Gorge has started, Abkhazia's foreign minister Sergei Shamba said. Our troops are making advances. We are hoping for success. Shamba claimed that Russian troops were not involved in the operation. Georgian military left the gorge on 12 August. Georgia's Deputy Interior Minister Eka Zhuladze said Georgian troops had withdrawn from the Kodori Gorge as a goodwill gesture. Abkhaz Deputy Defense Minister Major General Anatoly Zaziev claimed that only local forces, not Russian ones, were involved in the military operation. But an AP reporter in the area saw 135 Russian military vehicles driving to the Kodori Gorge. Georgian officials said their troops in the Kodori Gorge were being attacked by Russians. On 13 August, President Sergei Bagapsh flew into the gorge by helicopter to declare that the last piece of Georgian-held land in Abkhazia was back, under the control of the separatist authorities. Abkhaz soldiers said that they had discovered a mountain of weapons, from American M16 rifles to artillery units and mortars, as well as herds of abandoned cattle. Casualties and war damages. One Abkhaz soldier was killed mistakenly by his own men. 2 Georgian soldiers were also killed. Before the war, around 2,000 people lived in the Upper Kodori Gorge that fled during the Georgian retreat. The Abkhaz authorities said they advised the return of the refugees. But by late March 2009 only 130 people were reported to live in the Upper Kodori Valley. According to visitors to Azara, military posts had been damaged and shops looted, but houses were almost unharmed. Operations outside Abkhazia. The Russian ultimatum issued on the 11th of August by the commander of Russian peacekeeping forces in Abkhazia, Major General Sergei Shaban, called for Georgian troops to disarm in the Zugdidi district along the boundary with Abkhazia. Russia stated the ultimatum expired at 600 GMT. Sergei Shaban said that Russian troops were ready for an operation to disarm Georgian troops in the area. On the 11th of August, Russian paratroopers deployed in Abkhazia occupied the city of Zugdidi and carried out raids against military bases deep in western Georgia. That day, Russian forces, meeting virtually no resistance, entered the town of Senarki and seized the military base. Georgian Deputy Defense Minister Batu Kutilia said that about 30 armored personnel carriers and more than 20 trucks with Russian soldiers entered Senarki and took control of the military base. Russian Defense Ministry announced that operations were carried out in Senarki. Operations aim to prevent new attack of Georgian artillery against peacekeepers of Russia and South Ossetia, the report said. The source insisted that they aimed to prevent mobilization of reservists. Shota Utiashvili, spokesman for Interior Ministry of Georgia, said that Russian peacekeepers and Abkhaz separatists had entered Kercha village of Zugdidi district. Abkhaz separatists declined the information. An aide to the commander of Russian forces Alexander Novitsky said that during a reconnaissance mission the Russian Air Force destroyed 2 Georgian helicopters at the Senarki air base. The helicopters were purportedly identified as a Mi-8 and a Mi-24, belonging to the Georgian Air Force. Russians destroyed the base in Senarki and seized rich trophies. Russian troops also drove through the port of Potter and took up positions around it on 12 August. On 16 August, the Georgian Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that the Russian army units and the separatists moved the border of Abkhazia in direction to the Inguri River. The troops occupied 13 villages in Georgia, set up temporary administration there and put the Inguri hydropower plant under the separatist control.